Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to Man in the House. First off, I want to thank all of you that have subscribed, and if you have not done so, please do so now. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you can get notified of the new videos that come out from Man in the House. Alright, so last time we talked about, what qualities to look for when you're looking for a husband or a wife. Along those same lines, we're going to talk about when is the right time, if any, to ask a potential wife or a potential husband about their credit score. Man, many of you guys like, what? Ask them about their credit score? Yes. Lots and lots and lots of marriages break up over finances, and credit score is a very intimate and private thing. I get that. But it also is a great indicator of how you manage your money. And when money's not managed right in relationships, it usually ends bad. So that's one thing we're going to talk about today. But before we do, or while we're doing it, we're going to jump into some cooking here, because I'm in the kitchen again, and today we're cooking up some chicken meatball orecchiette. Alright? So I'll be right back as I tilt the camera so you can see the spread below, and we're going to get to cooking, we get to chopping it up, and we're going to talk about financial IQ for your mate, for your husband or wife. We're going to talk about that FICO score. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make some homemade meatballs, chicken meatballs. We're going to throw those in a nice sauce over some Orecchiette noodles, and we're gonna get it going here, y'all. Alright, but first off, I gotta ask, have you ever asked someone, not someone you just met from a relationship standpoint, but someone who you have gotten serious with, maybe they've popped a question and you're getting ready to, make that leap, cross that line, do you ask them what their credit score is? Back in the day, I would have never thought about that, because credit score was kind of a difficult thing. Now they got Credit Karma, they got all these apps you can throw on your phone, and you can show somebody your credit score within seconds. Now for some of you might say, that's not necessary, that's too much. When you're trying to ask somebody what their credit score is, because you want to marry them. But I beg to differ. I'll say this. Because so many relationships do have problems with finances, it helps to know what kind of person you're dealing with, what that person's financial IQ is. What does that mean? We talk, everybody knows about the IQ, right? It's a measure of your intelligence. And a lot of people talk about your EQ, or your emotional IQ, which is a measure of how well you deal with the emotions that you feel and how well you communicate those emotions, right? Well, your financial IQ is none other than a measurement of how you manage your money. What do you think about money? Where you put your money, how you spend your money, things of that nature. And if you get somebody that's opposite of you, like say for example, you're very frugal, you manage your money very well, you think long term, and you get someone who is, careless and fancy free with money, and they overspend, they like to shop, they like to do all of those things that really go against how you want to manage the money for not only yourself and your mate, but also for your future and for your family. It becomes a struggle in the relationship. So what's the biggest indicator, or one good indicator is the FICO score. Now I just want to hear what you guys think about that. Alright, so while y'all ponder on that, let me get to mixing these ingredients. So we're gonna make the meatballs first. I already got my water boiling for the noodles. So first thing I'm gonna add is our breadcrumbs, and all of these ingredients and measurements will be down in the description box, so don't worry, I'm just gonna throw these together while we chop it up a little bit. So I'm gonna add our breadcrumbs in here. We're gonna add about a tablespoon of milk. I actually have just a little bit more than that. I'm gonna add some fresh parsley. Actually, I'm gonna cut that up just a little bit more. All right, 2 eggs. Alright, a little bit of salt. This is actually 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. You get that in there. And we're going to stir this up. I don't want to stir it too much because I'm going to add this chicken in here with it. Alright, so I have pre-seasoned a pound of ground chicken, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there. Alright, we're going to get that stirred up with this. So tell me if you have ever dated someone and you've gotten serious with them and you realize, you know, over the time that they just weren't the best at handling money. You know, maybe they're a boyfriend or they're a girlfriend at the time before you really gotten serious, and they're calling you to borrow money and things like that, and it's kind of constant, and you really got the sense that maybe they're not the best at handling money. I'm going to throw in some fresh Romano cheese here. And some ketchup. About a tablespoon of ketchup. We're going to mix this all up. We're going to make us some meatballs, y'all. Chicken balls. So that's a big indicator of whether or not he or she is going to be good at money. If they're already calling you to borrow money, chances are they're going to be doing that a lot. Chances are either they don't have the ability to budget on their own, which is quite frankly something that you should be concerned about. In any of this stuff, is any of it a deal breaker? If you're engaged right now and you realize that the person you're engaged to is not the best at handling money, is it a deal breaker? I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker. Or for example, you get a hold of their credit score, you take a look at it because maybe they let you look at it, and you find out it's less than stellar, is what I like to say. Maybe it's, you know, they got the low 500s, and you're alarmed at it, but is it a deal breaker? I don't think it's a deal breaker, but I do think that you got to make sure that you are aware of it, and that you have the conversation prior to going deeper in the relationship about finances, and you make sure that you're on the same page as to how you want to manage finances. So I got this stirred up, guys. I'm gonna turn on this. I'm gonna get my pot going here on medium heat, and I'm gonna throw in a little olive oil while I do it. I'm just gonna set this down right here. Get this going. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to throw in my noodles over here into my pot and let them start boiling. Those in there for about 8 to 10 minutes. This is a great meal if you have kids that love meatballs. Make the meatballs small so they can, you know, kind of eat them and taste them in one bite instead of giant meatballs they gotta kind of play with. It's a really nice meal for kids, for families. Really, just a little family meal, y'all. Tonight we just cooking up and we're gonna max it too. I'm about to make this sauce as soon as my pan heats up here. But while that's going and while that's heating up, I want you guys to think about it. Tell me, what would you do if you were in a relationship with a guy or with a girl and you had gotten to the point where you were serious and you had this conversation around finances, right? And you found out that they had a whole bunch of debt because they showed you their FICO score and maybe a little bit of their credit report because you guys were serious. I ain't talking about, like I said, I'm not talking about somebody that, you know, you've been, you know, courting for a couple of months and nothing's really serious yet. But when you get to that point where he or she's popped a question and it's time to bring up how we're going to live together and function together, and you start having these conversations about finances and you find out they have a whole bunch of debt. Or, now, I know this comes up, y'all, and y'all tell me what you think. Or this happens too. You find out that they have kids with someone else and they are currently paying some sort of child support. Now, does that stop you from marrying the guy or the girl? What do you think about that? Especially if they make, you know, let's say they have 2 or 3 kids that they have with this other person or multiple people, whatever the case may be, and they're paying all this money in child support, and you know once you marry that person that you become part of that income and become part of the child support equation. What do you think about that? Is that a deal breaker? Is it off at that point? Or do you say maybe we should hold off until you get some of these other things wrapped up or taken care of? And maybe that's a long way away, so you can't really think like that. But what do you think about debt and going into relationships with someone who has a lot of debt? I can tell you this, that it's a big deal. It's a big deal. When you want to plan a future and you want to do something and one person has great credit and the other person doesn't have the best of credit and you want to put things together and do them jointly, yeah, it becomes a part of conversation, y'all. It becomes a part of conversation because your goals are heading in one direction, but it's actually being impacted by decisions that people have made in their financial life over the years. I'm running over on my water, y'all. I'm running over. There we go. Those are about halfway done anyway. My pot ain't warm yet. Okay, so my pan is hot now. I'm gonna take my little teaspoon thing or my tablespoon here, and I'm gonna make some meatballs. So I just dampened my hands because we're getting ready to make these meatballs, and you don't want to do it with dry hands. So I'm gonna stir this one last time here. Actually, probably not the last time, but all right. So I'm gonna take this and make round about 3/4 inch size meatballs here, and I'm gonna start dropping these in the pan over here. So I'm gonna put that in my hand, and I'm just gonna roll them up a little bit and drop them in the pan. And here's the other thing I want to know. If you were at that point in your relationship with somebody and they asked you to see your credit score, would you be offended? Would that offend you? Would you be turned off if somebody, when you guys got to the point of marriage, wanted to see your credit score? Wanted to know what your credit score was like? You think that would be a turn off to you? Do you think that you would say, you know, they must not trust you, or would you take offense to it? I guess what I'm asking is, what would be going through your mind if you hadn't thought about it first and they thought about it and asked you about it? Me personally, I don't know. I guess, you know what? It would probably depend on where you are. If your score is good, you probably wouldn't care that much. But if it's bad, you might take offense to it. But that's the whole point of asking, right? Trying to get these all the same size. Ain't working too well, but it's all right. I got about 2 more minutes on the noodles here. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn these over. I expect them to be a little brown on the other side. Okay guys, I flipped those all over and I'm letting those cook another 2 minutes on the other side before I make the sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes. Oh yeah. I'm also going to add some mushrooms. I love mushrooms, so I'm going to add quite a bit of those. I actually ran out of tomatoes. I wanted some more. We're going to add that in there. We're going to let that come to a boil here. I'm going to go ahead and stir that though. Get that all sturdy in there. That's going to turn into a nice sauce. Nice brothy sauce. All right. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add my toast. I got some 5 cheese toast, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there and we're going to get it cracking. So I got my Parmesan cheese and my pasta here, and I'm just tossing that a little bit. Get it cheesy. As you can see, it's starting to get cheesy. So we have our Parmesan noodles, Orecchiette. I got a little, I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put some mozzarella cheese in that. Throw some more noodles on top. Get that cheese covered. And then we're gonna toss in here our sauce with our chicken meatballs. Toss that over the top. And that looks good. Love those tomatoes. Okay. We're gonna add a little bit of fresh basil on the top. And I got about 2 minutes on our garlic bread, and we're gonna serve this up. Okay guys, here's the final product. I'll give you a nice close-up in the thumbnail. But don't forget to tell me in the comments whether or not you think it's okay to check a potential husband or wife's credit score before you get married. Tell me if you think it's offensive too. And if you're already married, tell me who manages the finances in your house and why. Alright, until next time guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you get the next video that comes out. Talk to you guys later. Bye.